Kevin Garnett was one of the best players in NBA history. Someone that was simply ahead of his time. He could pass, he could shoot, he could defend multiple positions, he moved like a guard at near 7 feet tall. He had an insane basketball IQ on both ends of the floor as well as an insane competitive motor. He was the modern day big man before the modern day big man was a thing. And with all this talk about him being this game-changing player that was ahead of his time that I do on this channel, I decided to give my own interpretation of this question. What if he grew up to play in today's NBA? What if the modern Marvel was able to play in the modern NBA? Now, this isn't something I'm doing where it's a 2K simulation or anything like that. This is more of something where I just give you my thoughts and kind of try to tell a story based off what I know about Kevin Garnett's career and what I know about how the modern NBA works. Also, there's not going to be as many NBA years as you would think. It's only going to be 2, maybe 3 years. It's going to be about the journey, which is the big part of it, from high school to college, and the hype surrounding him and how it would be reflected in modern basketball. So that's really where this is. And before we get into today's video though, if you're new and you like basketball, I really think you would love this channel. So if you haven't already, feel free to like, subscribe, hit notification bell to be notified whenever I release a video. I make videos to take elements from film essays and apply them to basketball. I also make videos covering draft prospects and high school prospects. So if you're into either of those things, this is the channel for you. I'm trying to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so doing all those things would be a big help to me. Also, try to get this video to 100 likes. I had a lot of fun making this video, but I'm not going to continue to do these if you guys aren't enjoying them. So I think if 100 or so of you guys like this style of video, it's something I will continue in the future. Also, make sure you leave in the comment section below if you want this series to continue. Drop some player names that you would like to see as well, maybe for a future video in this potential series. But with that being said, let's get right into the video. Kevin Garnett would be born on May 19th of 1999, putting him in the 2017 recruiting class, a class famous for guys like DeAndre Ayton, Jaren Jackson Jr., Trae Young, Marvin Bagley III, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, just to name a few. He would play his first 3 years of high school at Malden, where he developed into one of the best prospects in the class. He was praised for his versatility on both ends of the floor. As a junior, he averaged 25 points per game, 18 rebounds per game, and 7 assists per game, as well as 6 blocks per game. His senior year, he would transfer to IMG Academy in order to prepare himself for college. He would play alongside Trayvon Duval, who was the #1 point guard in the country at the time. As a senior, he would average 19 points per game, 12 rebounds per game, 4 assists per game, and 3 blocks per game, having to play within the offense more. He was a McDonald's All-American and Jordan Brand Classic selection, which is to be expected. He would help lead IMG to a Geico National title. He was Gatorade National Player of the Year, Dave Smith Prep Player of the Year, and Mr. Basketball USA. All of these awards were previously held by Michael Porter Jr. in the real timeline. And you might be thinking, well, Michael Porter Jr. is putting up more impressive numbers. He was averaging like 36 points per game and 14 rebounds per game while being one of the best scoring prospects we've ever seen. But for me, it's kind of biased because I'm a big Kevin Garnett guy and I want to see him have the most success in the video I'm making about him. But secondly, KG was playing on a team whose depth consisted of at worst 3 and 4 star recruits. He was playing alongside Trayvon Duval, who in his own right was one of the best players in the country at the time, and he was still putting up insane numbers and helped lead IMG to a Geico National title, which is really considered the peak of high school basketball, and I feel like these things would favor KG when it came to selections. By the end of his senior year, however, Kevin Garnett was ranked the #1 player in the country consensusly. Many were calling him the best prospect since Anthony Davis, with some even saying that he was a better prospect than Anthony Davis due to him being more polished on offense and just as good on defense. He would choose to play his college basketball at Maryland, which in retrospect does seem like an odd choice, but at the same time, in real life, he has said that had he gone to college, he would have gone to Maryland. So that's why I have him committing to Maryland in this scenario. Kevin Garnett would start at Maryland from day one. It's pretty easy to see why, as not only was he the best prospect in the country and Maryland wasn't the greatest team, Bruno Fernando, who was also on IMG when KG was there, was the starter as a freshman in the real timeline. KG beat out Bruno for the starting spot at IMG, so it's safe to say that he would do the same at Maryland. As a freshman, Kevin Garnett had one of the best seasons of all time. He would average 22 points per game, 14 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, and 3 blocks per game. He would help lead Maryland to a 25-7 record, as he would be the deciding factor in a lot of close games that Maryland would lose in the real timeline. He would win Big Ten Player of the Year, Big Ten Freshman of the Year, and Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, as well as being First Team All-Big Ten. He was a consensus First Team All-American, National Freshman of the Year, National Defensive Player of the Year, and just the third freshman to ever win consensus National Player of the Year. And while that may seem crazy, and it probably is, the impact he would have had on that Maryland team would have been massive, and he really would have carried that roster as a freshman. And also, again, like I mentioned earlier, this might be me just being a massive Kevin Garnett guy and me making a video about him. I want him to have the most success, to make it the most interesting for me. But I do think that Kevin Garnett, even if you think this is a bit extreme, would have a massive freshman season. Because again, he was pretty solid in the NBA as an actual rookie in the real timeline. So what's that to say he wouldn't be able to dominate college if he was able to handle the NBA at the same age? Maryland would lose in the Sweet 16, however, the tournament to get back on track, and KG would declare for the NBA draft. I think Kevin Garnett would have been the first overall pick in the 2018 NBA draft. Now, I have gone on record saying that Luka Doncic is the best prospect I have ever seen, but the Suns already passed on him in the real timeline to take DeAndre Ayton. So in this timeline, they still pass on Luka, but they take Kevin Garnett instead of DeAndre Ayton, as Kevin Garnett will be viewed as a significantly better big man prospect than DeAndre Ayton was, due to the talent level being similar, with probably an edge going to Kevin Garnett, and the motor on Kevin Garnett just being so much higher than DeAndre Ayton's, because the motor was a concern with Ayton when he was coming out of Arizona. But because of Kevin Garnett going first overall, it does create a butterfly effect. Nothing too important changes. Luka still goes third overall. The Mavs still trade for him with Trae Young, who they took 5th overall. And while Jaren Jackson Jr. and DeAndre Ayton are obviously the two players that are affected by this the most, they're great players, they have bright futures, but both of them have missed significant time, and they wouldn't have the biggest impact, early on. And the other players, where they go, doesn't really change much. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander still ends up in LA, which is probably the biggest one. As a rookie, Kevin Garnett would average 17 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, 4 assists per game, and 2 blocks per game. He would finish as the runner-up alongside Trae Young for Rookie of the Year, behind Luka Doncic, who would still win it because, believe it or not, Luka actually had one of the greatest rookie seasons of all time. However, that wouldn't discourage Kevin Garnett, as in his second season, Kevin Garnett made a jump and would average 21 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, and 2 blocks per game. I think he would make the All-Star team over LaMarcus Aldridge that year, and I think the Suns would actually make the playoffs, as they almost made it in the real timeline because of the fact that they went off in the bubble. But they also missed it because DeAndre Ayton missed time because of a drug suspension. And given that Kevin Garnett will be fully healthy and probably wouldn't get suspended, and he's just a better player than Ayton was, I think it's fair to say the Suns would make the playoffs. And I think that he would be named to the All-Defensive Second Team and All-NBA Third Team as well. In this season, I think Kevin Garnett will be putting up around 23 points per game, 12 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, and 2 blocks per game. He would be in Defensive Player of the Year conversations as one of the best defenders in the league due to his versatility, his ability to guard multiple positions, and his defensive IQ. He's somebody that I don't know if he would be quite ready to be in that conversation with Embiid and Jokic for first and second team at the center spot because of the fact that they're just out of this world. And while KG is awesome in his third season in this scenario, I don't know if he's quite there yet, and it's also not quite clear if he's the best player on that team with Booker and maybe Chris Paul there. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I think he would show that he had potential to be the best big in the league, and I think by his 4th, 5th season, he would surpass Embiid and Jokic for the best center in the league, because I think that he is everything you look for in a defensive big man. He's everything you look for in an offensive big man. He would be taking threes now. Like, he didn't take a lot of threes in his career, but he would be taking threes because he took a lot of long twos, and long twos now are threes. And you see more teams where they had guys that took long twos, they take more threes now. I think KG would be no different. Yeah, I know that this whole thing has been a bit much, and I definitely think that him being like one of the greatest college players of all time at Maryland is a bit of a stretch to an extent. And I do think that him being this good this early could be viewed as a bit of a stretch considering how his actual career went. But when you factor in where he would probably end up and the resources that he would have at his disposal now and the motor that he already had, and I think that's possible that he develops quicker than expected. But that is the end of this video. If you've made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, do all those things. Help me reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Again, try to get this video to 100 likes. Because if you guys get it to 100 likes, I will do more of these, and I will come out with more. You guys continue to show a lot of support for a potential series like this. Make sure you leave a player in the comment section below that you may want to see as well if I do continue this series. Maybe share it with other people so maybe they see something that they like. But at the end of the day, if you enjoyed it, thank you so much. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. You guys have no idea how much it means to me that you guys watch my videos and you guys have given me a platform. But with that being said, have a nice day.